Hi friends, the next query which has been raised by a lot of people is, should I be taking participation in the grand tests during my preparation, or should it be a solo effort from my side to be focusing only and only on the theory part of the things, or should I be practicing the PYQs? So the nutshell is, the question perhaps talks about whether should I be taking a part in the grand test fairly regularly or not, or I can put it another way, what are my take home points when I'm appearing in a grand test? You see, my take on this would be that when you are appearing for a grand test, there are important advantages of doing so. See, the way I look at the things is that if you're appearing for a grand test, and let me presume that you happen to be a topper type student, you're doing too well for yourself in the academics. You see, appearing in a grand test, which is going to be taken by a lot of people, a lot of your peers, gives you a real life experience, or it just simulates the stuff which is going to be taking place with you as and when you are appearing in the real exam. So let's say that there is a grand test in which 5,000 people have appeared, and let's say out of these 5,000 people, you get a rank in the top 10. It's definitely a confidence booster for you because that means that your preparation is on the right track. It helps you because you know that whatever strategy you have been following is working for you, and therefore it motivates you to work even harder. How about people who are not able to perform so well in a grand test? The importance of not performing a grand test also is something which cannot be overemphasized. You see, sometimes what happens with all of us is because we are all human mortals, right? So sometimes we do are good in a particular subject. Say, for example, I am good at a particular subject, let's say like PSM, like, or maybe I'm good at pharmacology. And when I'm appearing in a test, I am going to be having my marks which are contrary to what I expected. So this is going to be helping me come back. It is not going to ever allow me to fly too high. In that sense, it is going to be giving me what is called as a reality check. So I would not be having a feeling, I would not become overconfident for any particular subject in the exam. A third thing which happens is, irrespective of howsoever a student has performed, the grand tests give you an amount of a basal performance that you're going to be having during your phase of preparation. Even though all of us would like to individually score the maximum marks, maybe the top 5 ranks or the top 10 ranks, but eventually your aim during the phase of preparation is that in the subsequent grand test, you have to improve with respect to your previous score. So say for example, I was able to crack 7 questions of microbiology in grand test 1 and I revised that particular subject. My aim would be that in the next test, I should be able to crack 10 plus questions. Maybe in the third test, which is, approaching more near the exams, I'm able to crack 12 or 13 questions, which means that you are in a competition with your own self. Don't look at people. Don't unnecessarily feel jealous with respect to having a comparison with people. Don't feel that you know too much by having comparison with people who are not performing at your level. It is just a fight that you have to have with yourself so that you keep on improving when having a comparison with yourself. Another important advantage of appearing in a grand test is it helps you identify what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. Sometimes, and that happens with a lot of us when we are preparing at the time of an exam, there is a particular likage for a particular subject. Say, for example, I tend to get fascinated when I'm looking at a subject like surgery because I, mentally imagine myself, operating upon a patient or looking at a case scenario. How would I react to it and what would I be doing in the OT, right? But you see, you have to be very practical when you are preparing for an entrance exam. You cannot get emotional about a subject, which means that whatever time has been allotted for a particular subject cannot by any means be expected to increase. You cannot exceed that line. You cannot cross that line. So whenever you are going to be appearing for a test, when you are able to identify the good subjects or the subjects which in you are having a strength in vis-a-vis the subjects which are your not so good subjects, which are your weak subjects, try to balance the time or try to rationalize the time in a way that more attention or more time is being invested into subjects in which you are not good rather than reading the subjects in which you are emotionally driven and you feel good about it. This happens very, very commonly with a lot of people, especially when reading a subject like medicine. It happens with a lot of people when reading a subject like surgery, at times even with a subject like obstetrics and gynecology. But this extra time that you're investing in these subjects out of your interest would come at a cost of compromising on a lot of minor subjects which can help as important rank boosters. So if I'm doing good, it helps in boosting my confidence. If I'm not doing that good, at least it is going to be bringing me down to the ground and helping me identify my weak areas, and it helps me to differentiate between which are the subjects I should be investing my time into. Another importance of giving the grand test is that your brain is going to be becoming conditioned to sit in a situation when you are likely to be appearing in an exam. Howsoever you may try, if you are appearing for a test within the timelines of the test, you have to solve those many questions. In spite of our best efforts, and that has happened with me personally as well, that I always used to take more time for finishing off those 200 questions or those 300 questions depending upon the exam that I was preparing. But once you are appearing for a test, and that too you are appearing for a test which is going to be a simulation based test which you are giving in an app, you have a fixed time in which the test has to be submitted. So that helps to sharpen your skills, because then you identify the ways to decode a question. You would be looking at the pointers or the hints that are going to be given to you in the question, which will be able to helpful for identifying the right answer. And that helps you that in that 1 minute or that 2 minutes, you have to have knowledge of solving the question. In case for some reason you're not able to attend to a question, you also know that you have to shift to the next question. I mean, I cannot keep on reading and thinking about a question and a data and trying to memorize or revise, ये तो मैंने पढ़ा था, ये तो मैंने पढ़ा था, कहीं तो याद आएगा, कभी तो याद आएगा. It's not that a situation. Because if I invest that 5 minutes or 10 minutes of extra time, this is going to be detrimental. There is a possibility that there are 5 or 10 questions which I'm not able to even look at, towards the fag end of the exam. There's also a very good option that most of the exams are having these days, which is an option of review. So unless and until you develop that knack of utilizing a particular time for solving a question, when exactly to go in for a review, you would not be able to do it in the real exam. So that practice has to be, done right from the very beginning when you're going to be appearing for a grand test. All in all, therefore, the nutshell is that the grand test participation is very, very important. The participation is far, far more important in comparison to what is the score that you are going to be getting or what is the rank that you are going to be getting, because that is something which will obviously improve once you know that these are the areas on which I have to improve. These are areas that I am good at, and I am having an own comparison with myself. I am having my own scores as a baseline score. So the only aim is that incrementally I have to perform better in the subsequent test. Hope you find this particular suggestion from my side to be useful for your better performance in the exams. Please do make more mention of any questions that come to your mind or any hassles that you face while preparing for the exam, and I shall be more than happy to have a discussion with you on the same. As always, best wishes for your exam.